On this episode of Law Weekly, we feature the opinions of some lawyers on a growing perception in certain quarters that the disciplinary machinery of the legal profession is weak and ineffective, particularly against senior lawyers. We also have a recap of the top legal stories of the past week. In our interview segment, we feature a senior advocate of Nigeria, Dele Adesina. Mr. Adesina was called to the Nigerian bar in 1982 and he took silk in 2007. In this interview, we talk about the anti-graft war and the perception that lawyers are frustrating the war. Hello and welcome to the program. I am Shola Shieli. One of the biggest problems the legal profession in Nigeria has faced in recent times is that of indiscipline perpetrated by members of the profession at all levels. Though the profession has a well-laid-down process to enforce discipline among its ranks through the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee of the Nigerian Bar Association, a lot of outsiders, however, think that the disciplinary machinery is weak and ineffective. There is a growing perception that it is usually only the junior lawyers who get punished, while senior lawyers get away with almost everything. But is this perception justified, especially against the background of recent comments that some senior lawyers are frustrating the anti-corruption war? Law Weekly sought the opinion of some lawyers on this issue.
In fact, I seem to agree with this general notion or perception that senior lawyers can do whatever they like and get away with it. From what we have been seeing, from what have been happening all over the years. So there is that general perception that senior lawyers can do whatever they like and get away with it. And I want to add that some of this perception was one of the reasons that informed the agitation and the push among lawyers that no, senior advocates of Nigeria or senior lawyers are taking advantage of of junior lawyers or not senior advocates of Nigeria. And that was what informed the push that the rank of senior advocate of Nigeria should be abolished in Nigeria. So I think we can't generalize. We have very decent, responsible, hardworking, and gentlemen among the senior lawyers, but we have bad eggs. But we cannot deny that. We have bad ones among us.
They have a procedure wherein those kind of disciplines are administered to whoever is an erring lawyer in that case. So it's not something that somebody will just wake up and say that senior lawyers are aiding and all this and that. If you are doing work you see, the issue of law is that the justice grinds slowly. Most people are impatient, especially if you are a new appointee to a president and all of that. You want to satisfy your appointee and do things. I'm working this and that, and so they want us to subject or subvert the procedure allowed by law in dealing with issues like that.
In my opinion, I think the NBA is up to the task, especially the present leadership of the NBA and even the last leadership of the NBA as far as discipline is concerned. But all these things borders on the issue of evidence. When you bring such allegations against a lawyer, you need to have a concrete evidence. And I want to let you know that what you are alleging is criminality. And criminality, it is not based on preponderance or probability. You need a strict proof beyond reasonable doubt. The law says when a court is adjudicating on a criminal matter, the standard of proof is that of strict. It's strict in nature. The standard of proof is strict in nature, not based on preponderance or probability. In civil cases, you now weigh it against the other. Which one? The scale of justice, which one is higher, the scale of evidence, which one is higher. But in criminal cases, the law is that there must not be any iota of doubt. There must not be any reasonable doubt. Once there is any reasonable doubt, the law enjoins that the court must resolve it in favor of the accused person. So, and that is why even the Nigerian Bar Association doesn't just jump, at investigating lawyers when you do not attach any concrete evidence, because there could be frivolous petitions.
I can't say they are getting away with everything. It's a wrong conception, it's a wrong notion. It's a senior lawyers can get away with anything. like saying a person is above the law. For me, it's an individual thing. And as lawyers, be it senior lawyers, be it science, be it junior lawyers, we owe it upon ourselves to even choose, the nature of matters we, go into. And to that extent, as ministers of justice, I feel it's not a senior lawyer's thing. It's an individual thing. For the NBA, can only try, and there are laws on ground that we have the Legal Disciplinary Council. They always address such issues.
Varying reactions, but there's no doubt that the leadership of the Nigerian Bar Association must live up to its mettle and take concrete steps to reorganize and reform its disciplinary committee to deal with cases of professional misconduct without fear or favor. Moving on now, let's check out some of the top trending stories from the courtrooms.
We begin with the report that the Supreme Court has upheld the death sentence handed down to the General Overseer of the Christian Praying Assembly, Reverend Chukwuemeka Ezeogo, popularly known as Reverend King. The Apex Court also vacated the jail terms handed down to him for the attempted murder of 5 of his church members. Justice Sylvester Nguta dismissed Reverend King's appeal, saying that it lacks merit. Reverend King was sentenced to death by the then Justice Olubunmi Oyewole of the Lagos State High Court, Ikeja, on January the 11th, 2007, for the murder of one of his church members, Ann Uzo. The Supreme Court last week also declined jurisdiction to review its judgment delivered on the 29th of January in the leadership dispute between the Anambra State chapter of the People's Democratic Party. The Apex Court says by its rules and the provisions of the Constitution, it lacks jurisdiction to review its own judgment. Ruling on an application filed by the Independent National Electoral Commission seeking clarification and consequences of the judgment, Justice Okoro held that the dispute on whether the certificate of return should be withdrawn from the serving lawmakers and given to the list of candidates of the faction was not an issue before the court, and the court never made any pronouncement to that effect. From the Supreme Court, we move to the Federal High Court, sitting in Abuja. That court has fixed the 9th of March for ruling in a no-case submission filed by the National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Olisa Metu. Justice Okon Abang fixed the date after Mr. Metu adopted his arguments, insisting that the EFCC has not made any case against him. He's being tried by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for allegedly receiving 400 million naira from former National Security Advisor, retired Colonel Sambo Dasuki, who is also being tried for allegedly laundering $2.1 billion. Staying at the Federal High Court in Abuja, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission last week tendered various documents in its 4-count charge against the former chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Haliru Mohammed Bello, and his son Abba. The ex-PDP chairman and his son Abba are facing trial for allegedly collecting the sum of 600 million naira from the former NSA, retired Colonel Sambo Dasuki. In proof of the charges, the Anti-Graft Agency tendered the certified true copies of certain documents through its witness, an EFCC detective, Rukaya Ibrahim. The documents include the CTC of the correspondence between the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, the Ministry of Finance, and the Central Bank of Nigeria, as well as the statement of account of the company of the former PDP chairman. The court has adjourned till March the 3rd for cross-examination of the witness. In Lagos, a 9th prosecution witness has told Justice Ibrahim Buba of a federal high court how the former Director General of the Nigeria Maritime Safety and Administration Agency, NIMASA, allegedly defrauded the agency with bank accounts which had no government approval. The witness, Olamide Ogunsoya, an Assistant Director, Financial Service Department, NIMASA, said the 2 bank accounts opened for International Ship and Port Security Committee was not approved by the Accountant General of the Federation. The former NIMASA DG, Mr. Akpobolo Kemi, was arraigned by the EFCC alongside 5 others on a 22-count charge of converting 2.6 billion naira belonging to NIMASA. The offences are said to contravene the provisions of Section 15 and Section 18, subsection A of the Money Laundering Prohibition Act. And we round off in Kogi State, north-central Nigeria, with the report that the Governorship Election Petition Tribunal has commenced proceedings. The deputy governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in the election, Mr. James Faleke, through his petition, asked the tribunal to declare him governor. According to him, Governor Yahaya Bello did not participate fully in the poll, and as such he cannot be given the privilege of becoming the governor.
So that someone can...
The immediate past governor, Captain Idris Wada, on his part, is asking the tribunal to set aside Governor Yahaya's election on the grounds that he was not validly elected. The tribunal, headed by Justice Salima Mohammed, has fixed the 4th of March for pre-trial hearing to allow parties in the case exchange briefs.